Good afternoon, Beast. It's Lieutenant Colonel Nelson and Chief Hudson. Hi, Chief.
Hey, good morning, Beast family.
So we're here in our telework environment while we're practicing good social distancing, and we wanted to have a town hall with you to discuss your questions and concerns and let you know kind of our perspective on the things that are going on right now. First and foremost, I want to emphasize that our number one priority is the safety of you and your family. Let me say that again. Our number one priority is the safety of you and your family. This is a really, really uncertain time, and all of this isolation is making it even more uncertain. We know that there's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety out there. We already are in a career field where there's a lot of geographic isolation, or at least geographic separation, right? And it's a stressful career field to begin with, but now you introduce this virus and the social distancing, and I know that that is pushing the stress level up for a lot of families, especially bringing the kids home if you're not used to homeschooling and having to figure out, like, how do I continue education? I know that there is a lot more familial tension in my house because we're all kind of on top of each other all the time. And so, we want to help you address some of those issues as well. Aside from your safety and your health, I want to remind you that what we value in 351st is trust, right? Trust is the gold standard. And when we're working together day to day, even face to face, that trust and credibility kind of hangs by a thread. Now that we're more separated than ever, it's really important that everyone in the squadron engage in those mutually beneficial, mutually supportive behaviors to maintain that trust among members. Some of our members are out on their own. Everybody's got different resources. I just ask that you lift each other up, that you check on each other, you make sure that your team members and their families are doing okay. And to the extent that we can help you, we ask you to elevate your concerns. And where you can help each other without putting yourselves at risk, we want you to do that too. At this crazy time in our nation's history, I want you to adopt a contingency mindset. Those of you who have deployed or you've been in a combat environment, you'll understand what I mean. I understand that we're not launching sorties or dropping bombs right now. Nobody's carrying a weapon into a war zone. It's not like that, but we are very much in a crisis response mode. And so I want you to adopt that contingency mindset and understand that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that the flow of information to you goes on 24/7, and we're going to ask that you be responsive and that you let us know what's going on with you 24/7 as well. The concept of duty hours and duty days doesn't really apply right now. We just want to really make sure that we're being vigilant and we're being, exercising good risk analysis and being available to each other all the time. In terms of that, I need you to maintain perspective and exercise good judgment. The priorities of 2 weeks ago, the priorities of 6 months ago, even the face of recruiting and what recruiting looks like, it's really different today than it was just a few days ago. And it may look completely different for the rest of this fiscal year. Most likely it will. And who knows, even well into the future, this may really sort of redefine how we do what we do. And we don't have those answers yet. We don't know what this is going to look like. That's going to change every single day. But we do want you to maintain that perspective and exercise good judgment as you go forward. And I want to turn it over to Chief for a second to talk about that.
Hey, thanks, man. I just want to remind all recruiters and family members that as we try to remain balanced with work life, with our families, and the situation that's going on, that our focus in the East is not about production at this time. We do not want any member to be focused solely on production and putting you or your families at risk just to get a gain. The goal adjustments, they will happen. This will be something that, again, that we're dealing with, just like the commander said, that we've never dealt with. And so we will take care of it. You have my commitment and my promise that we will adjust every goal accordingly, and nobody needs to be worried about production or getting that gain. Please just use this time to spend with your families take care of them, take care of one another, like the commander said. Back to you, ma'am.
So if we've put restrictions on you and ask you not to meet with applicants in your area, even to do enlistments, we really, really need you to honor that guidance, because we've put that in place for your safety, and we're doing that with a lot of situational awareness about the threat in your area and the threat to the rest of the people around you, right? The rest of your community. We had a question that was submitted to us in advance. We want to go ahead and answer that one. One of our spouses asked if spouses were allowed to travel, and we know that we have a lot of members who are geographically separated from their spouses and their families. In fact, on a normal day-to-day basis, I'm typically in that situation, and so I wanted to help the members understand the members themselves cannot travel at this time. Family members, the restriction on family member travel is intended specifically to apply to PCS moves. However, I would just ask that you exercise really conservative judgment about travel if you decide to engage in that. What I would ask is that if spouses or family members are thinking about traveling to get to their geographically separated squadron member, that squadron member work with the flight chief and elevate that up the chain so that we can talk about the best way to reunite that family while honoring that request that we have from our senior leadership, both on the military side, that families not travel, and that guidance that we're getting down from many civic governments and from the federal government that talks about the threat to people. But we completely understand that desire to reunite your families. So elevate those concerns through the chain, and we'll talk about those situations on a case-to-case basis. All right. The last thing I wanted to say is the squadron is doing some things to try to, and I should say members of the squadron are doing some really phenomenal things to try to increase the sense of community. So I want to give a shout out to our new First Sergeant, Master Sergeant Laura Shaw, and two of our spouses, Miss Tony Lawrence and Mrs. Sarah Barber, who have gotten together with the shirt and are doing some things to provide assistance to other families. They have established this page, this platform where you're seeing us talk to you today. They're in the process of doing some resource sharing to help families that don't typically homeschool have lots of ways to keep the kids engaged and to structure that environment for the moment. And we're even talking about doing some fun things like maybe reading some stories, because we know that public libraries are closed right now, and some of the families with little beasties were really dependent on those kinds of programs. So as you have really good ideas about how to help us maintain that connectedness, or really good ideas about maybe how to get the mission done and get some recruiting done without having to meet face-to-face with applicants, this is a time when creativity and innovation really could be the thing that keeps us going. And we appreciate you so much. Thank you for what you're doing out there. Stay safe, stay healthy, be a beast.